I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it.
A shocking royal revelation has sent ripples through Buckingham Palace and across the globe. After years of careful discretion and whispers behind closed doors, Prince William has delivered a statement so striking it has left the nation and the world stunned. Queen Camilla, long a fixture in the monarchy's public life, now faces a future shrouded in uncertainty. Hidden tensions, secret maneuvers, and whispers of unseen power struggles have quietly built to this moment. So, what truth did William finally unveil? Today, we reveal the announcement that shook England to its core. The shout that shook the palace. A sudden piercing cry from Prince William rang out through the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, sharp and electrifying, like lightning cleaving the sky. It shattered months of hushed tension, the quiet unease that had lingered like a low fog over the palace corridors. For weeks, those within the royal walls had sensed subtle shifts, whispers of discontent, and unspoken power plays that simmered beneath the palace's glittering exterior. And now, the truth, long hidden behind the carefully maintained veneer of grace and decorum, threatened to erupt into the open. Rumors swept through the royal court like wildfire. Camilla had vanished from England. She had retreated into an almost unnatural silence, slipping away from public view as if her presence itself could spark upheaval. But that silence was far from innocent. Beneath it lay a dense and intricate web of carefully orchestrated schemes, hidden maneuvers designed to elevate her standing while quietly undermining William's growing influence in the monarchy. A secret media contract, meticulously constructed documentaries, subtle manipulation of narratives, and whispers of misused royal funds painted a portrait of a woman wielding power behind the scenes. Her intentions cloaked in elegance and discretion. Each revelation brought a clearer picture. Camilla's ambition was methodical, her strategies deliberate. She had not merely sought influence. She had constructed a network of leverage, spanning media, finance, and even covert diplomacy, all aimed at securing her position as a dominant figure in the royal hierarchy. Her subtle manipulations, once overlooked as harmless or ceremonial, now revealed themselves as part of a calculated plan. A plan that, if left unchecked, could erode the very foundations of the monarchy. When the evidence finally reached Prince William, the weight of it pressed down on him with undeniable urgency. This was no longer a matter of personal grievance or familial tension. It was a test of the institution itself. Turning to Princess Anne, whose unerring judgment and unwavering loyalty to the crown had long been his guide, William knew a confrontation was unavoidable. Every shred of proof, from financial irregularities to evidence of media influence, pointed to one unavoidable conclusion. Action had to be taken, and swiftly. Thus began the quiet yet irrevocable fall of a queen who had sought to rewrite her legacy in shadows, to shape public perception without accountability. The chessboard of Buckingham Palace had shifted, revealing cracks beneath the polished surface. The stage was set for an upheaval of power, a reckoning long in the making. In the silence of that moment, as the palace seemed to hold its breath, it became clear: no secret, no carefully crafted maneuver could remain hidden forever. The reign of influence Camilla had so carefully built was about to be tested, and history would bear witness to every consequence. Rumor has it that Camilla has disappeared from England amidst swirling allegations. But how will the monarchy respond? And who has the courage and power to face this storm? Now, let's delve into how Prince William's stunning declaration shook the monarchy to its core. The Silent Revolution. On a cold, mist-laden morning in October 2025, under the heavy gray London sky, Prince William did something no one dared imagine. With the city holding its breath and the palace steeped in an eerie stillness, He stepped forward into the public eye and spoke a single, devastating sentence. Less than 10 words, but one that would echo across the corridors of power for generations. In that instant, history paused. Cameras froze mid-click, reporters caught their breath, and even the bustling streets of London seemed to fall silent, as if the entire nation sensed the weight of what was unfolding. Through the palace windows, a lone white dove drifted across the sky, gliding as if an omen had been released to mark the moment. In the hushed rooms of Buckingham Palace, Camilla's portrait was quietly removed, the familiar image of the Queen disappearing as though it had never existed. King Charles's name was curiously absent, a subtle yet unmistakable signal that the structure of royal authority had shifted across England. Millions watched, transfixed, as the calmest, quietest revolution in the monarchy's history unfolded, not with battles, protests, or dramatic upheaval, but through a single, deliberate declaration. William's words struck with the precision of a finely honed blade, sharp, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. Every syllable carried the immense weight of responsibility, the pressing urgency to protect the monarchy, and the unwavering certainty of a destiny he had long envisioned. He spoke without raising his voice, without offering explanations, leaving no room for debate. He did not pause for questions, nor provide clarifications. Yet his mere presence, steady, controlled, and unshakable, conveyed more than words ever could. As he turned and walked away, the silent authority of a future king radiated from him. A man determined not just to inherit the crown, but to transform its meaning forever. Outside Buckingham Palace, a sea of stunned citizens gathered along the Mall, their expressions a mixture of awe, disbelief, and tentative hope. Cameras and phones captured every reaction, yet the air was heavy with silence. Few dared speak, for the gravity of the moment had rendered conversation nearly impossible. Slowly, the world began to recognize what they had just witnessed. Not a mere announcement, but a seismic, irrevocable shift. Journalists and historians alike would later name it the silent revolution. A revolution without confrontation, without abdication, without fanfare, but with a force powerful enough to transform the monarchy forever. In that extraordinary morning, William demonstrated a truth that would shape a generation. That true power need not roar to command respect. It could move quietly, resolutely, and with unwavering purpose. In the hushed stillness, England glimpsed the dawn of a monarchy reimagined, one where the weight of tradition met the clarity of vision, and the voice of a future king alone was enough to reshape history. William's announcement sparked a silent revolution, instantly reshaping England's monarchy. But was it truly justified? And what secret battles behind palace doors led to this bold move? Now let's explore the secret power play that threatened the throne. Camilla's shadow campaign. To the public, Camilla seemed the very definition of elegance and composure, the flawless queen fulfilling her royal duties with poise. Yet behind the grand gilded doors of Buckingham Palace, a very different narrative was quietly unfolding, one of calculated ambition and subtle maneuvering. Camilla was far more than a supportive consort. She was executing a carefully planned strategy to strengthen her hold on the monarchy. Every smile, every public appearance, and every charitable act was purposefully crafted, each gesture reinforcing an image of indispensability, projecting power, and subtly asserting her influence during the king's absences. Her strategies were subtle, almost invisible to the casual observer. She manipulated media narratives, commissioning documentaries that highlighted her contributions while quietly downplaying the roles of William and Catherine, scripted interviews, carefully crafted storylines, and pre-approved questions ensured that her public persona remained untouchable. Meanwhile, she redirected charitable funds with quiet precision, steering resources toward initiatives that bolstered her influence and created leverage for future maneuvering. Blurred photographs of private meetings, whispered conversations with diplomats and discreet arrangements with international contacts, built a network that extended far beyond England's borders. Each move strengthened her position while subtly undermining William's authority, crafting a power structure within the palace that few could see, but many would soon feel. Yet not everyone remained oblivious to Camilla's intricate schemes. Princess Anne, known for her sharp mind, keen intuition, and unwavering loyalty to the monarchy, sensed the cracks quietly forming within the royal household. Something far more sinister than simple image management was at play. Guided by instinct and concern for the crown, she carefully relayed her observations to Prince William, urging him to look deeper. His investigation unearthed a troubling reality: a web of secret financial transfers, carefully manipulated media narratives, and clandestine international alliances, all meticulously orchestrated, all tracing directly back to Camilla's calculated ambitions, confirming fears that the monarchy itself was at risk. Each new discovery peeled back another layer of Camilla's hidden battle for control. Her moves were never impulsive. They were deliberate, meticulously crafted maneuvers aimed at presenting herself as the real authority behind the crown. Yet, in her careful orchestration, she left subtle clues too significant to overlook. William's relentless investigation, coupled with Princess Anne's sharp attention, uncovered a pattern that could not be ignored. The public image of a graceful, composed queen belied a far more intricate reality. Behind the polished facade, she was spinning a web of influence, quietly undermining the very foundations of the monarchy she vowed to serve. And so, the stage was set. The truth, undeniable and irrefutable, emerged as the final thread capable of unraveling her carefully maintained reign. The elegant facade had cracked, and the quiet war she had waged in shadows was exposed in full view, bringing the first tremors of an impending palace upheaval that would change the monarchy forever. William exposes Camilla's secret power plays, manipulating media and funds behind the palace doors. But what evidence led him to such a shocking conclusion? Now let's unravel the hidden moves that shook Buckingham Palace. Camilla's quiet empire. Beneath the familiar grandeur and polished calm of Buckingham Palace, a secret world was quietly taking shape, one that the public could never see, yet one that threatened the very foundation of the monarchy. Behind closed doors, Camilla's calculated and deliberate actions were reshaping influence in subtle, almost invisible ways. What initially seemed like a routine financial review began to unravel a far more troubling reality. Expenditures that far exceeded the modest sums normally allocated for media projects, hinting at a power game played behind velvet curtains. Prince William, wary of looming threats to the monarchy, quietly launched private investigations, keeping every detail hidden from the public eye. What emerged was impossible to dismiss. An anonymous journalist, fearing backlash, revealed that Camilla had carefully orchestrated interviews. Every question, answer, and even emotional reaction was meticulously scripted. Entire documentaries were subtly altered to present her as the unwavering backbone of the monarchy, portraying her as the stabilizing figure during King Charles's absences, while systematically downplaying the roles and contributions of William and Catherine. The revelations painted a picture of quiet manipulation, influence, and carefully constructed royal narratives. As advisors meticulously examined the palace's financial records, startling irregularities began to surface. Secret transfers of large sums, clandestine media contracts signed without oversight, and subtle exertions of influence stretching across international borders. Slowly, a chilling picture emerged. Camilla's moves were not merely about protecting her reputation. Instead, she was quietly building an independent network of power within the monarchy itself. Every gentle smile, every perfectly timed, polite gesture concealed an undercurrent of authority, a silent assertion of control. Few dared to challenge her, and the palace's calm exterior masked a complex, covert struggle for dominance. Inside Buckingham Palace, a quiet tension began to take hold, almost imperceptible at first. Long-serving staff were the first to sense it. Fleeting glances that skirted direct eye contact, subtle distance growing between generations, and an undercurrent of unease threading through corridors once alive with courteous chatter. Conversations became cautious, words carefully chosen, as if each syllable carried hidden weight. All around, the unseen network Camilla had been quietly constructing seemed to extend into every corner of palace life. Whispers among servants hinted at a widening fracture, a creeping coldness that had slowly taken root, yet now radiated with undeniable chilling presence. It was clear to those paying attention that Buckingham Palace was no longer simply a house of ceremonial tradition and regal etiquette. It had become a battleground of subtle influence, a stage where loyalty, power, and reputation were being negotiated in silence. Camilla's quiet empire had taken root, but the cracks in the palace walls that had withstood centuries of monarchy, were now impossible to ignore. And in the shadows of that gilded world, a reckoning was quietly approaching. One that would test family bonds, loyalty, and the very survival of the crown itself. Convincing evidence shows Camilla quietly building secret power, manipulating media, and finances. But will she ever face confrontation? Or does she have a reason for her actions? Let's uncover the details. The Buckingham Showdown. The dense, early October fog blanketing London that morning seemed to mirror the tension brewing within Buckingham Palace. It was a day unlike any other, a day destined to be etched into the annals of royal history. Prince William, weighed down by weeks of investigation, months of careful observation, and the unbearable gravity of the evidence before him, took the extraordinary step of calling a closed-door meeting in the West Conference Room, a chamber long steeped in decisions that had shaped the destiny of the monarchy itself. Inside, Princess Anne arrived promptly, her expression sharp, unwavering, a blend of steely resolve and keen insight that had always made her a sentinel of the crown's integrity. Around the grand table sat the senior advisors, the guardians of finance, media, legal matters, and foreign affairs. Confidential dossiers lay neatly arranged, a quiet testament to the meticulous preparation that had gone into revealing the truth. The air felt almost electric, as if the centuries-old walls themselves recognized the significance of what was about to unfold. As the meeting began, William laid out the mounting evidence with quiet, deliberate clarity. Each revelation cut through the room like a precise scalpel. Unapproved financial transfers from Camilla's office, carefully manipulated media campaigns, and perhaps most damaging of all, the deliberate erasure of William and Catherine from key public narratives designed to bolster her image. Every document, every witness account, every record was another piece of a puzzle, pointing unambiguously to a covert strategy that undermined the monarchy's cohesion. Then, as if the palace itself had been holding its breath, Camilla entered. The click of her heels echoed like a drumbeat of inevitability. Draped in composure and calm, she faced William directly, her gaze unflinching, her voice steady as she declared her intent to defend her honor. The room did not erupt in chaos. There were no dramatic shouts or slamming doors. Instead, a chilling calm descended, a battle waged not with noise but with words sharp enough to cut the centuries-old decorum of the palace. Accusations flew, and careful justifications followed, each word heavy with consequence. Truths lingered in the room, impossible to ignore, pressing down on everyone present. Every exchanged sentence seemed charged with the power to shake the very pillars of family and monarchy. The air throbbed with tension. Each glance, each measured pause, every subtle gesture spoke volumes. Silence itself became a weapon, and in that room, even the smallest movement carried the weight of destiny, threatening to redefine loyalty and legacy. By the time Camilla left, offering nothing more than a thin, fractured smile, the room seemed forever altered. The line between familial loyalty and the survival of the monarchy had blurred. A quiet, seismic shift had taken place, one that would resonate far beyond those walls. The Buckingham showdown was over, but the consequences of that measured historic confrontation were only just beginning to unfold. Camilla faced evidence too strong to ignore. But can decisive action save the situation, or will her status leave her untouchable? Now let's explore how Prince William's 3-minute declaration quietly reshaped the monarchy forever. The silent collapse of an era. Late October draped England in an almost magical stillness, as if the entire nation collectively held its breath, waiting for history to unfold. Along the Mall, cameras stood ready, satellite vans buzzed quietly, and reporters whispered among themselves, the air thick with anticipation. Every eye, on television screens, smartphones, and radios, was glued to Buckingham Palace, sensing that something monumental was about to happen. The tension was electric, stretching across the city and beyond, hinting that the coming announcement would not only shake the palace walls, but ripple through the very heart of the nation. Then, as if cutting through the fog of uncertainty, Prince William emerged, his posture calm yet unmistakably resolute. In his hands, a single neatly folded sheet of paper seemed almost too simple for what it carried. A message that would forever alter the balance of the British monarchy. With a steady voice, William spoke 185 carefully chosen words, a declaration that required no flourish, no embellishment, no theatrics. Queen Camilla would withdraw from public life. There were no accusations, no justifications, no lengthy explanations, just a definitive, irreversible reshaping of the monarchy's present and future. The world fell into a stunned, almost reverent silence. Some onlookers wept softly, grieving the quiet disappearance of a figure who had shaped the royal story for decades, while others struggled to contain cheers, sensing the birth of a new era marked by openness, honesty, and accountability. Cameras flashed relentlessly, reporters scribbled feverishly. Yet the calm, deliberate way William spoke left a lasting impression. Every word carried the weight of authority and empathy, signaling a future king fully in command, quietly commanding respect and shaping the monarchy's transformation before an astonished, captivated nation. Meanwhile, Camilla departed London quietly, heading to Windsor for a private meeting with King Charles, a gathering cloaked in mystery and secrecy. There were no cameras, no press, no witnesses, only the whispered account of a loyal attendant. He listened, and she cried, without shedding tears. It was a scene heavy with unspoken emotion, a private acknowledgement of decades spent intertwined with power, expectation, and personal sacrifice. The meeting marked the soft, almost imperceptible collapse of a 40-year chapter, an ending that carried the weight of history while moving with the gentlest touch imaginable. In those few minutes, a nation felt the quiet yet seismic shift in its monarchy. What unfolded was not the drama of shouting or scandal, but the subtle, deliberate closure of one era and the firm establishment of another. The chapter of Camilla's public presence closed, not with fanfare, but with the inevitability of truth, leaving behind whispers of legacy, power, and the fragile human heart at the center of the crown. William's historic announcement forced Camilla's withdrawal, ending her 40-year influence and shocking England. But at what capacity could he make such a declaration? What does this decisive move mean for the monarchy? Now let's uncover William's quiet takeover and the shaping of a modern monarchy. The strategic heir. Prince William, often seen as calm, composed, and deliberate, has been quietly preparing for far more than ceremonial duties. Behind the glittering royal events and public appearances, he has been watching closely, analyzing every move, and patiently waiting for the precise moment to act decisively. Insiders reveal that William is already taking on greater responsibilities, not out of haste, but from a deep concern for the monarchy's future and stability. Every step he takes is measured, strategic, and intentional, signaling that a new era of leadership may be quietly unfolding under his steady, thoughtful hand. Royal aides and insiders report that William views his father, King Charles, with a mixture of respect and critical caution. According to multiple accounts, the prince believes Charles, despite his decades of preparation, is at times too hesitant or cautious to act decisively when the monarchy requires firm stewardship. He is kind of weak in handling urgent matters, one palace source disclosed, emphasizing William's belief that the institution itself must always come first, even if it requires overriding traditional norms or established hierarchies. This perception, insiders say, has motivated William to ensure that the crown remains both relevant and respected in a modern world, protecting it from missteps that could tarnish centuries of history. Observers say Prince William's leadership is precise, disciplined, and firm. Known as a no-nonsense figure behind palace walls, he has quietly been reorganizing the monarchy's structure, defining authority lines, and asserting control over crucial operations. From financial management to public communications, every decision is scrutinized with transparency, efficiency, and loyalty to the institution. In mind, close allies reveal that William's careful strategy follows a clear principle. The monarchy's power is not rooted solely in tradition, but in its ability to adapt, evolve, and maintain the trust and confidence of the people, securing its relevance for generations to come. Even while King Charles continues his formal ceremonial duties, Prince William is quietly reshaping the heart of the royal household. Advisors, staff, and diplomats alike sense a subtle yet undeniable shift, an era in which the heir is steering the monarchy not merely to survive, but to thrive. His leadership is measured and deliberate, avoiding overt confrontation while advancing a carefully planned strategy. Every choice, every quiet instruction reflects a thoughtful effort to safeguard the crown while modernizing its traditions. Through this intelligent, understated assertion of authority, William is steadily redefining what it truly means to lead the British monarchy, leaving a lasting mark for generations to come. In short, what unfolded in the days following the declaration was not simply a moment of public spectacle. It was a deliberate, carefully orchestrated transition, a blending of respect for tradition with the necessary courage to reform from within. Prince William prepares to inherit the throne, ready to redefine the monarchy with honor and trust. But what impact will his declaration have? And who will fill Camilla's role? Let's find out. Aftershocks of a new era. In the days following the historic announcement, England seemed to hum with a mixture of shock, awe, and relentless conversation. Across the nation, living rooms, cafes, and newsrooms alike were filled with debates that stretched from the morning papers to late-night television panels. Supporters of Prince William spoke with admiration, hailing his decisive courage as a watershed moment in the evolution of the monarchy. Many called him the first true reformer of a modern royal institution, a leader willing to act for the crown's integrity over the comfort of tradition or family ties. Yet alongside admiration arose empathy for Camilla, a figure whose life had been a careful dance in the shadows of the crown. She had spent decades quietly navigating the intricate and often unforgiving corridors of power, steadily building influence, yet always remaining on the periphery of public favor. To see her suddenly retreat, erased from the public stage, left many with a sense of melancholy. Her disappearance into seclusion, her presence now whispered about rather than witnessed, was a poignant reminder of the high stakes, sacrifices, and vulnerabilities that accompanied a life spent within royal walls. As Camilla's absence became an unspoken reality, William and Catherine stepped fully into the limelight, their leadership taking on new dimensions. International media quickly seized on the subtle but profound transformation, dubbing it the Age of Empathy. Unlike the distant, ceremonious monarchy of previous decades, this new era emphasized visibility, accountability, and connection. It was a monarchy not defined by gilded halls and protocol alone, but by gestures that resonated with the lives of ordinary people. Transparency replaced opacity, humility replaced untouchable grandeur, and trust became the currency of influence rather than tradition. Royal traditions underwent a profound transformation. Once grand and ostentatious ceremonies were scaled down into more intimate, meaningful gatherings, each carefully crafted to showcase genuine emotion and human connection rather than mere spectacle. Public appearances, charitable events, and official engagements shed their theatrical veneer, becoming heartfelt acts of service and compassion, each resonating with sincerity and purpose. Slowly, the story of the monarchy began to evolve, moving away from rigid adherence to centuries-old formalities toward a version defined by empathy, humility, and humanity. A crown guided not by pomp, but by the trust and hearts of the people. This transition marked not merely the quiet end of one queen's influence, but the birth of a new chapter in British royal history. It was an era shaped by accountability, sensitivity, and the thoughtful stewardship of tradition. William and Catherine emerged as symbols of quiet strength, a future king and queen who balanced authority with understanding, ceremony with approachability, and legacy with progress. The monarchy, long perceived as distant and untouchable, now began to resonate with the public in ways previously unseen, signaling the dawn of a modern, empathetic, and enduring reign. This was more than a mere transfer of authority. It was a complete reinvention of leadership, a bold redefinition of service, and a profound demonstration of earning the trust of a nation long observing quietly from the shadows. Every gesture, every decision, signaled a monarchy no longer distant, but accountable, compassionate, and deeply connected to the people it serves. So, what do you make of Prince William's declaration? Could this signal that he has effectively assumed leadership of the monarchy? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.